All right, happy race day, everybody. Let's talk about the Cup Series at Phoenix. Hopefully you guys did good on that Xfinity Series race. I did not catch the race myself, but I noticed I was caught up with the big one. A lot of my drivers wrecked out in that. And I also had Josh Williams in a decent amount of lines. And of course, he had issues early in the race. So excited to turn the page and get ready to focus on this slate today. So what do we got here? We got a new tire and a new aero package that we are working on for this short track. Tire is supposed to have a little bit more fall off. The package is supposedly supposed to help with dirty air, but all the drivers are complaining that it's still terrible and dirty air that you can't pass. As soon as you get close to other cars, your car just gets extremely tight. Um, so that's kind of annoying, but for DFS purposes, what do we want to look at? So for me, Phoenix is typically a long run type of track. These runs will um, be longer green flag runs for the most part. Like usually everyone is really, really aggressive on the restarts. You'll see everyone span out on the dog leg, try to get as many positions as they can. And then everyone kind of falls in line and kind of runs, where they're running. And then we'll have some different comers and goers as some cars are short run cars, some cars are long run cars, and, some cars are, in between. So for me, I'm anticipating more of a long green flag run race. So I want to look at those lap averages. Who was at the top of the charts at the 20 lap averages? Who was at the top at the 25 lap averages? And those are really the plays that I want to focus around. In addition to that, I think you can also look at the 2023 short track data. How did these teams perform at the style track? Last year we weren't here too crazy long ago, for the championship race. So we have a lot of, data to lean on as well. So looking at the slate here for the driver by driver breakdown, you got Larson, Blaney, Byron, Hamlin, and Bell. For me, my two favorites up here are going to be Hamlin and Bell. Hamlin, because he has clean air. He starts on the pole. He controls the restart. We know how hard it is to pass in this package. There's a lot to like about Hamlin. Hamlin was also decently good on the long run. He wasn't as good as other cars that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But, if you're playing cash games or if you're playing tournaments, you're trying to figure out who's going to be a good lap leader, who can you rely on, who do you have some confidence in? For me, that's going to be Denny Hamlin. Some other plays in this range, I think, are a little bit more tournament options. You have Larson and Blaney. Blaney is our defending champion, who ran really well here and usually runs well here at Phoenix. He's just a little expensive for, 11,200 starting 16th. So he's more of a place differential upside play that has the ability to maybe, run some fast laps, potentially get out front, lead you some laps as well. He's just expensive. And I think there's some other plays on the slate that offer similar value or an upside that's a little bit cheaper. Same with Larson. He offers a lot of place differential upside, but he doesn't really show that much speed in practice. He should be able to find his way into the top 10, but I don't see him as being a must play compared to, some of the other drivers that I'm high on. And William Byron just is kind of odd man out for me. He didn't really stand out in practice as well, but he starts fifth. So yeah, he can potentially ride around there for most of the day, but I'm going to lean on other drivers to lead laps early. And then I have other plays in the field that I like more that I think have better long green flag run speed that I think Byron's just going to kind of get caught in that awkward kind of no man's land. So I really like Hamlin. Christopher Bell might be my favorite play on the slate. He starts 13th, so he gives you a lot of place differential upside. But when we look at those lap averages of who was fast on the, the 15, the 20, the 25, the 30. Well, Christopher Bell was P1 in all of those. So it gives us place differential upside. I love the speed that this car has this weekend. And when we are anticipating long green flag runs, he should slowly but surely work his way towards the front of the field. So Christopher Bell is a driver I'm going to have a lot of today. Truex, I'm just not really getting to. I think he's fine for tournaments. If you're building multiple lines and you're just trying to find ways to get different, I don't mind sprinkling Truex in, but If you're building 1 to 3 lines, like I'm personally just not getting the Truex. He didn't really stand out in practice. His long green flag run speed was okay, but it wasn't great. So my fear is he just runs around where he starts. Logano's another play I really like a lot today as well. Again, he gives us place differential upside. He's relatively cheap, compared to some of the other expensive plays up here. And he was, gives us place differential upside, and he's good on the long run. So, um, kind of just like we're anticipating with Bell, as we anticipate this race goes green, Logano should be a driver that moves forward. I actually prefer Logano over Busch. Um, Bush does start deep. I have him as high just because his ceiling is pretty high there. There's a lot of place differential upside, but the speed that Logano showed was quite faster than what Kyle Busch showed. The advantage that Kyle Busch has is he starts deeper in the field, more place differential upside. The negative is he also starts deeper in the field, and we know how hard it is going to be to navigate, through the field. I really like Ross Chastain as well. Kind of in the same boat as Christopher Bell. He ranked third behind Bell and Logano on a lot of these long green flag run speeds. So I love Bell, I love Logano, and I love Chastain. Those are really my 3 plays that I am going to be over the field on. I'm going to have a ton of these, different combinations in my lines. Again, place differential upside and long green flag run speed is why I like Chastain. Um, Basically, everyone in the 8K range I have is medium. I don't feel like they're must plays. I don't hate them. I don't love them. They're fine. Ty Gibbs is probably the one that stands out the most. If Hamlin can't take the lead early at the beginning of the race, Ty Gibbs starts second and he's significantly cheaper than Hamlin. There's a lot of leverage to gain right there. But Gibbs was slower on the long green flag run, speeds than Hamlin. So the concern is if Gibbs can't stay out front or can't maintain his position, he's going to fall backwards. Both RFK cars, I feel like they can contend for a top 10. Things potentially could go more their way, but I have them running around where they start. And then Elliott's more of a contrarian lap leader. So say he gets lucky on the beginning of the race, hits the dog leg, goes really, really low, gets under Hamlin into the turn. Maybe Elliott has the ability to lead early. Reddick, another tournament play. I kind of have him in the same boat as Truex. Like I just think he's gonna be around the top 10 for most of the day. I just don't know if we'll have the car or the speed to take advantage and earn you fast laps or get out front and give you laps led. Looking at the 7K range, you got Briscoe, Wallace, Bowman, Suarez, Berry, and Jones. Josh Berry I like the most. He starts deepest in the field. He had a hiccup in qualifying, so because of that, he starts DFL, but he was putting together a decent lap before that happened. So a ton of place differential upside. Can't really lose you any points starting that deep. And then I also like Wallace a lot. He was up there, top 4, top 3 for most of these long run averages, kind of with the Chastains, the Bells, the Loganos. And I really like the value that you get for $7,700, towards starting 22nd. So Wallace is another kind of play I'm going to have a lot of, another core option, play for myself. Bowman's another guy I like. He gives us a lot of place differential upside, pretty good, practice speeds. Um, he was fastest in the 10 lap average in practice, which should be good. I just kind of, or that's Bubba there. Sorry about that. But Bowman was in top 12 in both, the single lap speed and the 10 lap average. So I don't mind Bowman. I think he'll have a car that can move forward, starting from 25th. And then I'm not really getting to Briscoe or Suarez. Briscoe, he can potentially hang around, the top 10, but it's just really risky starting 8th. Suarez just was kind of slow. Eric Jones, really, really cool to see him start that high, but my fear is he just isn't going to be able to maintain that. He's 100% a GPP play, going to have really, really low ownership. Preach is a solid place differential, upside play if you can't get Josh Berry into your lines, if you're looking to pivot off of Berry because we know how high owned he's going to be. I don't mind Priest. Dylan offers us some place differential upside, but he was pretty slow in practice. If you're looking for just relatively a value play with a low floor, you know, can't really hurt you. I don't mind Austin Dillon. Not really getting to McDowell or Gregson, kind of the same boat as Briscoe. They're cheaper than Briscoe, which is nice, but it's a lot of risk, for your line for a driver that's, 67, $6,600. I'd much rather take the risk on John Hunter Nemechek. He's a little bit safer, starting 19th. And he showed some pretty good speed in practice. I mean, he was fourth overall in the single lap, third in the 10 lap average. As the green flag runs went on, he wasn't as, quick. But he offers you, some place differential upside. And the Toyotas in general are pretty fast this weekend. So, more of a tournament play, I think, starting 19th, but I'll be over the field on him. I'll take some risk there. LaJoy and Cindric are going to be kind of more of the cash game, value plays. They can't really hurt you. They start so far deep in the field. Nothing really more else you can say about that. Carson Hocevar, probably going to be more of a tournament play. It'll be kind of fun to watch him for just fan purposes, but for DFS purposes, again, starting 10th, it's just going to be difficult. And then I personally don't think you even have to come down this low on the slate. It really just depends on how you're building, whether you're building with Hamlin or, how many of these 10K drivers that you get. But everyone is relatively, easy to get into line. So I don't really find myself coming down. Really, I think Austin Cindric is usually the cheapest driver I have in most of my lines that I'm building so far. But I don't mind if you do come down here. I think Todd Gilliland is probably the safest play. He kind of starts far back. We've seen this car have flashes of speed, and then I'm not really getting to anyone else on the slate. I just don't feel like you need to. So hopefully that's helpful. Best of luck to everybody today, and I will catch you guys next week.